Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here today. And as anticipated all week, I'm about to announce Kathy's picks for tonight's Academy Award show and the 2020 Oscars. I want to thank you, Stacy, for joining in and having coffee, and John for filming this. A lot of our Facebook fans and friends and family not on Facebook have been waiting for this. So you asked me earlier, how did this all begin? Well, about 4 years ago, John and we discovered that our local theater had the film festival for all the nominated films for that year's Academy Award. And we go to the Regal. And last year, well, the first year we did it, we just fell in love with it. And we've been going every year since. I started to make my predictions after the first year, and each year I've gotten a little bit better. I started with just film, then I went to Best Actor and Actress, and last year I included Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress. Now they're the categories that I stick with. Now I think this year I might be able to add one more, and I believe it might be cinematography. I'm not sure if that's what they call it. I'll just throw that in there for fun. But anyway, that's how it all started. And last year I knew I was onto something, because when I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, I knew actor right there. I knew Green Book. I knew Olivia Colman. I knew them all. This year, I do have some concerns. So I want to just put out my endorsement right now so you all know that I am not receiving any reimbursement from the Academy, the Oscars Guild, or anyone in Hollywood for my picks. These are just Kathy's picks. And this year, they might differ a little bit from the Academy. So I'm going to start with Best Supporting Actor in a Film. And while there were quite a few very accomplished actors, and we were able to see, I believe we were able to see all but A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, because by the time it started, it was no longer in the local theaters. And as lovely as I know Tom Hanks is probably doing in that film, Kathy's pick for Best Supporting Actor is going to be Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He gave a tremendous performance. He truly was, very classic for the setting of the film in the 60s. He did a great job. It was funny, and I just loved his role. And I'm not necessarily a big Brad Pitt fan. For Supporting Actress, this gets a little bit hairy here, because there was two films that I was not able to see. Again, because of timing, we did not see Bombshell, nor did we see Richard Jewell with Kathy Bates. But I gotta tell you, the movies that we did see, Laura Dern, to me, is scoring the Oscar. She's going to win it for Best Supporting Actress in The Marriage Story. Now, she was in 2 films this year, and I think she did a really fine job. I do believe Scarlett Johansson is a great actress, but I'm sorry, I just didn't like the movie that she was in terms of Jojo Rabbit, which is what she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. And we'll talk about that in a moment. When we get to Best Actor, we've seen everything at this point in time except for Antonio Banderas for Best Actor, only because of the subtitles. We really don't do subtitles well. Although it does look like a riveting performance for him, I've got to tell you, my pick is Joaquin Phoenix. He portrayed the Joker phenomenally. He transformed that character. He was brilliantly insane. I don't necessarily care for him in terms of his other films that I've seen him in, but he did a fabulous job, and Kathy's pick goes to him. Best Actress, last year, I picked it right away. I was like, Olivia Colman, look at her role. This year, I gotta tell you, Renee Zellweger for Judy, fantastic job. Again, transformed her personality into the role of Judy Garland. It was a very dark, disturbing film. It wasn't upbeat and fun. It wasn't like all about the Wizard of Oz and, the Yellow Brick Road. She had a hard life, but she did a great job in that role. And while there were other really wonderful actresses, for example, I do believe Scarlett Johansson did a great job in The Marriage Story in her acting, but that was just like looking like a really bad marriage on a really bad day. So although it was intense, I don't think that the acting was riveting. The actress in Harriet, who I believe is Cynthia Erivo, she was phenomenal too, but nothing compared to Renee Zellweger, in Kathy's opinion, remember. Now let's get to Best Picture. This one was really tough this year. There were no wow moments for me from the very beginning. I didn't walk out saying, wow, this is it. It took me to see, I think, all 6 of the films. And yes, I did rent Parasite on my own, watch the subtitles. I gotta tell you, Kathy's pick, not Hollywood's pick necessarily, so I'm not going to worry about whether I'm right, was Ford versus Ferrari. Very entertaining film. Now let's review. I do not like anything to do with NASCAR, anything to do with car races. My brother-in-law loves cars, love car racing, listens to the sounds of cars racing. So I just don't get it. I went to one time and I'm sitting there. I turned to John. I'm like, what are they going to do? Ride around this ring about 500 times? Seriously. But the acting, I love Matt Damon. I love Christian Bale. I love the dynamic between the two of them. It was an entertaining film. I wasn't wowed. If I had to go with my second right there pick, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Entertaining, little weird, a little off, but I liked it. I don't know if the Academy is going to feel that way. They're going to pick that 1917, I think, which although it was well done, it wasn't wow. It wasn't like, wow, that was really entertaining. It was about one moment in time in the war. Now, this is the category I'm going to delve into. Not that I'm experienced, but 1917 did a great job with their cinematography. The filming of that movie was really impeccably done. But I don't think it deserves Academy Award. So there are my picks for 2020. We'll see what happens tonight. I hope you're all going to watch. And again, no disclaimers, no endorsements. These are just my humble little, novice, critiquing person that I am. I'm no Siskel and Ebert. Do either of you have any questions for me before we end?
I do. Since this is going into your 4th year.
Yes,
right,
Stacey.
Predicting. How accurate have you been in the past?
Last year I was spot on. The year before that was when I realized I had the ability to identify a good film when I picked that Shape of Water. Like everybody thought I was nuts. Like, what are you picking that film for? It was so weird, but it was really good. So I think I've got a little bit of a gift, but again, it is not a professional gift by any means.
Well, I did notice that you do pick Joaquin Phoenix for Best Actor.
Yes.
But you're dismissing him as the best movie for Joker.
That movie, to me, when I went to see The Joker, I thought it was going to be a Batman and Robin, powwow kind of movie. I realized they were promoting, and I'll get a little serious here, promoting the mental health issues that we do face in this country today, the lack of support for folks that suffer with these types of illnesses. And while that is very important, I don't necessarily think that the Joker film with the Batman thing and all was the place for that. That could have been done, and it has been done in other movies. So for me, that movie was not a wow movie. I go to the movies to be entertained, which is why this year we've purchased our Regal Unlimited Pass. Love Regal. But not to necessarily learn something like in a documentary. And I just didn't find that movie was entertaining.
You are aware that the 2 movies you've chosen for Best Picture and Second Best were more of the popular, but most of the time these movies that are kind of unknowns are the ones that pull it out.
True.
So I'm curious to see if you're spot on this year, because both those 2 movies were more of the box office hits.
Yeah, and you never know with what Hollywood's going to do. I think a lot of people think with Hollywood, they say, why do you like some movies? I don't really care for these actors and actresses off stage. I really don't care what they think about politics. I don't care what they think about the world's view. They just need to shut up and act as far as I'm concerned, because that's what I'm paying to see. So I really try to separate that line for them. You're right. I don't know what people would think in terms of the best movie. John, he's filming, if you had to pick your best film, what was the most entertaining to you?
This year?
Mm-hmm.
Ford and Ferrari.
See? So it's all about entertainment for us, and that's the perspective with which I'm coming from.
Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you so much for being here, and we'll see what Hollywood tells us tonight.
Can't see if your results match the winners.
Well, we don't know. Until next year, bye-bye for now.